17 Black celebrities who were LGBTQ+ and tragically died. They changed music, literature, dance, film, and civil rights, but many were forced to fight for recognition while hiding parts of themselves from a hostile world. Some lived openly and paid a devastating price. Others left behind letters, performances, and powerful works that revealed truths society refused to accept. From James Baldwin and Josephine Baker to Sylvester, Marsha P. Johnson, and Marlon Riggs, these Black LGBTQ+ legends broke barriers while facing racism, rejection, illness, and heartbreaking loss. Stay until the end, because several stories may change how you remember history. Before we begin, subscribe to Golden Black Legends, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments which forgotten pioneer deserves far greater recognition today. James Baldwin. James Baldwin was far more than one of America's greatest writers. He was a fearless voice who challenged racism, inequality, and prejudice long before many others dared to speak openly. Born in Harlem in 1924, Baldwin transformed his personal experiences into powerful literature that continues to influence readers around the world. His groundbreaking novels, including Go Tell It on the Mountain, Giovanni's Room, Another Country, and If Beale Street Could Talk, explored race, identity, sexuality, faith, and the search for belonging with remarkable honesty. At a time when discussing homosexuality could destroy a career, Baldwin refused to hide his identity. As a Black gay man living through segregation and the civil rights movement, he faced discrimination from multiple directions, yet he never allowed fear to silence his voice. Instead, he became one of the 20th century's most respected intellectuals, standing alongside leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers, while offering his own unique perspective on justice and humanity. Although Baldwin rarely labeled himself publicly, he openly acknowledged his relationships with men and rejected society's expectations that he should conceal who he was. His 1956 novel, Giovanni's Room, centered on same-sex love, was considered revolutionary and risky, especially for a Black author during that era. Many publishers warned him that releasing the novel could permanently damage his career, but Baldwin refused to compromise his artistic integrity. Throughout his life, he continued writing essays, novels, speeches, and interviews that challenged America to confront both racial injustice and intolerance toward LGBTQ+ people. In his later years, he settled in Saint-Paul-de-Vence, France, where he continued writing despite declining health. Baldwin died of stomach cancer on December 1, 1987, at the age of 63. His death marked the end of an extraordinary literary career, but his influence has only grown stronger over time. Today, James Baldwin is remembered not simply as a celebrated novelist, but as a courageous truth-teller whose words continue inspiring generations to pursue equality, compassion, and authenticity. His remarkable legacy proves that honesty, even when uncomfortable, possesses the power to change history and touch hearts long after a writer's voice has fallen silent. Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker lived a life so extraordinary that it often seems more like fiction than history. Born into poverty in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1906 she overcame racism, hardship, and discrimination to become one of the world's most celebrated entertainers. During the 1920s, Baker found enormous success in Paris, where her captivating performances, fearless stage presence, and unmistakable charisma transformed her into an international sensation. While she dazzled audiences with music, dance, and film, she also quietly built a legacy that reached far beyond entertainment. Throughout her life, Baker challenged racial barriers, refused to accept segregation, and used her fame to fight injustice. She later became the first Black woman to star in a major motion picture and one of the highest-paid performers in Europe, achievements that were nearly unimaginable for a Black American woman at the time. Josephine's personal life was equally unconventional. Historians have documented that she had romantic relationships with both men and women, making her one of the earliest internationally famous Black entertainers associated with bisexuality. Although she rarely discussed those relationships publicly, several biographies and historical accounts acknowledge them as part of her remarkable life. During World War II, Baker served the French resistance, using her celebrity status to gather intelligence for Allied forces and secretly transport messages hidden within sheet music. For her bravery, France later honored her with the Croix de Guerre, the Rosette of the Resistance, and the Legion of Honor. After the war, she continued fighting discrimination by refusing to perform before segregated audiences in the United States, and later joined Martin Luther King Jr. during the historic March on Washington in 1963, becoming the only official female speaker at the event. In her later years, Baker adopted 12 children from different countries, creating what she proudly called her Rainbow Tribe, to demonstrate that people of different races and religions could live together peacefully. Following a triumphant comeback celebrating 50 years in entertainment, Josephine suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and died on April 12, 1975, at the age of 68. Her funeral in Paris attracted thousands of mourners, and decades later, France honored her once again by inducting her into the Pantheon, making her the first Black woman to receive that distinction. Josephine Baker's extraordinary journey remains a timeless testament to courage, compassion, artistic brilliance, and the unwavering belief that love and equality are worth fighting for. Sylvester James Jr. was one of the most fearless performers ever to transform American music. Long before conversations about LGBTQ+ representation became common, he proudly embraced his identity while captivating audiences with a voice unlike any other. Born in Los Angeles in 1947, Sylvester grew up singing in church before discovering that music could become both his passion and his platform. Refusing to hide who he was, he developed a glamorous stage persona that blended gospel soul, disco, and theatrical performance into something completely original. During an era when openly gay Black entertainers faced enormous discrimination, Sylvester challenged stereotypes simply by walking onto the stage. His confidence inspired countless people who had never seen someone like themselves represented with such pride and authenticity. Sylvester's career reached international heights during the late 1970s with timeless disco classics, including You Make Me Feel Mighty, Real, and Dance Disco Heat. His soaring falsetto dazzling costumes and electrifying performances made him one of disco's defining voices. Yet behind the fame, he remained deeply committed to advocating for equality and visibility within the LGBTQ+ community, as the AIDS epidemic devastated countless lives during the 1980s. Sylvester refused to remain silent. He openly discussed his HIV diagnosis at a time when fear, misinformation, and stigma surrounded the disease. Rather than retreating from public life, he used his influence to encourage compassion education and support for those affected. He also arranged for the royalties from his music to help organizations serving people living with HIV/AIDS, ensuring that his legacy would continue helping others long after he was gone. On December 16, 1988, Sylvester died from complications related to AIDS at the age of 41. His passing represented a heartbreaking loss during one of the darkest periods in LGBTQ+ history, but his influence never disappeared. Today, his music continues filling dance floors while his courage inspires new generations of artists who proudly embrace their identities. More than 4 decades after reaching stardom, Sylvester is remembered not only as the Queen of Disco, but also as a pioneer who refused to compromise his authenticity. His remarkable life reminds us that true greatness is measured not only by talent, but by the courage to live honestly in a world that often demands conformity. Audre Lorde was a poet, essayist, professor, and activist whose words forever changed conversations about race, gender, sexuality, and justice. Born in New York City in 1934 to Caribbean immigrant parents, Lorde discovered her love for language at an early age, often memorizing poetry before she could comfortably express her own emotions. Throughout her life, she refused to separate the different parts of her identity. She proudly described herself as Black lesbian, mother, warrior, poet, insisting that each aspect of her experience shaped her understanding of the world. At a time when many public figures avoided discussing sexuality, Lorde wrote openly about love between women, discrimination, and the importance of embracing every part of one's identity without apology. Her groundbreaking collections, including Cole, The Black Unicorn, The Cancer Journals, and Sister Outsider, became essential works in feminist civil rights and LGBTQ+ literature. Rather than writing only for academics, Lorde wanted ordinary people to recognize their own struggles within her words. In 1978, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, an experience that profoundly influenced both her life and her writing. Instead of hiding her illness, she documented her treatment, recovery, and emotional journey with remarkable honesty, encouraging women to speak openly about disease, fear, and survival. Her essays inspired countless readers to confront illness with courage while also challenging social systems that marginalized women, especially Black women and lesbians. Lorde believed silence allowed injustice to grow stronger, making truth-telling one of her greatest acts of resistance. Audre Lorde spent her final years continuing to write, lecture, and advocate for equality despite declining health. She died of liver cancer on November 17, 1992, at the age of 58 after years of battling metastatic breast cancer. Yet her voice remains extraordinarily powerful decades later. Her books continue to educate students, inspire activists, and comfort readers searching for understanding in difficult times. Audre Lorde's legacy extends far beyond literature because she taught generations that differences should never become reasons for division. Instead, she encouraged people to transform pain into purpose and fear into action. Her life stands as a lasting reminder that words possess the extraordinary power to challenge injustice, heal wounded hearts, and reshape the future. Kenny Green. Kenny Green possessed one of the smoothest voices in 1990s R&B, yet his remarkable talent was overshadowed by a heartbreaking illness that cut his life tragically short. Born in Buffalo, New York in 1969, Green became the lead singer, songwriter, and producer of the R&B trio Intro, a group celebrated for blending soulful harmonies with contemporary rhythms. During the early 1990s, Intro earned widespread recognition through songs such as Come Inside Love Thang and Ribbon in the Sky, introducing Green's rich vocals to audiences across America. Music critics praised his songwriting ability and emotional delivery, believing he was destined for an even greater career. Behind the scenes, however, Green faced personal struggles that few fans fully understood. Although Kenny Green rarely discussed his private life publicly, multiple biographical sources and those close to him have acknowledged that he was bisexual. During an era when LGBTQ+ identities were often hidden within the music industry, particularly among Black male R&B performers, Green chose to protect his privacy while continuing to focus on his music. In the late 1990s, his health began to decline as complications related to HIV/AIDS became increasingly severe. Despite growing physical challenges, he continued writing and recording music whenever possible, refusing to let illness completely silence his creativity. Friends and fellow musicians remembered him as generous, deeply spiritual, and determined to leave behind songs that reflected genuine emotion rather than manufactured commercial success. On October 13, 2001, Kenny Green died at the age of just 34 from complications related to AIDS. His passing shocked many fans, especially those who had followed Intro's success during the previous decade. While his career was tragically brief, his music continues to resonate with listeners who appreciate classic R&B and heartfelt songwriting. Over time, Green's story has also become an important reminder of the devastating impact HIV/AIDS had on countless artists whose lives and careers ended far too soon. Today, Kenny Green is remembered not only for his extraordinary voice, but also for the quiet dignity with which he faced illness. His legacy continues through timeless music that proves genuine talent can outlive even the greatest personal tragedy. Marsha P. Johnson. Marsha P. Johnson became one of the most beloved and influential figures in LGBTQ+ history through extraordinary compassion, fearless activism, and an unwavering commitment to helping society's most vulnerable people. Born Malcolm Michaels Jr. in New Jersey in 1945, Johnson moved to New York City with little money but enormous determination to live authentically. She became a well-known presence in Greenwich Village, embracing life as a drag performer and activist while refusing to let discrimination destroy her joyful spirit. Friends often explained that the P in her name stood for "pay it no mind," a phrase she famously used whenever people questioned her identity. That simple response reflected a lifetime devoted to dignity, kindness, and resilience despite constant prejudice. Marsha played a significant role in New York's LGBTQ+ community during a period when openly queer people faced routine harassment, violence, and legal discrimination. Although historians continue debating the exact events surrounding the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, there is no dispute that Johnson became one of the movement's most recognizable activists afterward. Alongside Sylvia Rivera, she co-founded Star Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries to provide shelter, food, and support for homeless LGBTQ+ youth who had nowhere else to turn. Despite living in poverty herself, Johnson consistently shared what little she had with others, earning widespread admiration for her generosity. She also became a familiar figure in AIDS activism during the 1980s. Comforting patients, participating in demonstrations, and fighting for greater public awareness while many leaders remained silent. On July 6, 1992, Marsha P. Johnson's body was discovered in the Hudson River. She was 46 years old. Her death was initially ruled a suicide, but friends strongly disputed that conclusion, leading authorities to reopen the investigation years later. Although questions surrounding her death remain unresolved, no definitive evidence has established homicide. What remains unquestioned is her extraordinary impact on history. Today, Marsha P. Johnson is celebrated around the world as a symbol of courage, compassion, and hope. Her remarkable life reminds us that genuine heroism is often found not in fame or wealth, but in the willingness to stand beside those whom society has forgotten and fight tirelessly for their right to live with dignity. Alvin Ailey. Alvin Ailey forever transformed the world of dance by proving that movement could tell powerful stories about history, identity, faith, and hope. Born in Rogers, Texas, in 1931, during the era of racial segregation, Ailey experienced poverty and discrimination from an early age. Those childhood memories later became the emotional foundation of many of his greatest choreographic works. After moving to Los Angeles as a teenager, he discovered dance through performances by the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo and soon began training under renowned instructor Lester Horton. When Horton unexpectedly passed away in 1953, the young Ailey stepped into leadership far earlier than expected, demonstrating remarkable talent and determination. In 1958, he founded the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in New York City, creating a company dedicated to celebrating African American culture while welcoming dancers from every background. The company quickly became one of the world's most respected dance organizations, introducing audiences to emotionally rich performances that blended ballet, jazz, modern dance, and Black spiritual traditions. Among Ailey's greatest achievements was Revelations, first performed in 1960. inspired by African American spirituals and his childhood memories of church in the American South. The ballet remains one of the most frequently performed dance works in history. Throughout his career, Ailey choreographed nearly 80 ballets while helping countless black dancers gain opportunities previously denied to them. Although he kept much of his private life away from public attention, historians widely recognize that Ailey was a gay man who lived during a period when openly discussing sexuality could threaten both careers and personal safety. Despite those challenges, he devoted himself completely to artistic excellence and expanding opportunities for future generations. During the late 1980s, Ailey's health declined because of complications related to HIV/AIDS. Wishing to protect his privacy from public stigma, his physician announced that he had died from a rare blood disorder rather than AIDS. Alvin Ailey passed away on December 1, 1989, at the age of 58. Today, his company continues touring internationally, preserving his extraordinary vision while inspiring millions through dance. His legacy reaches far beyond choreography, reminding the world that art possesses the remarkable power to heal, unite, and preserve the stories that history must never forget. Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday possessed one of the most emotionally powerful voices ever recorded, transforming every lyric into a deeply personal story. Born Eleanora Fagan in Philadelphia in 1915 and raised primarily in Baltimore, she endured poverty, instability, and trauma throughout her childhood. Those painful experiences shaped the unmistakable emotional depth that later defined her music. During the 1930s and 1940s, Holiday became one of America's greatest jazz singers, recording timeless classics including God Bless the Child, Lover, Man's Strange Fruit, and Don't Explain. Her unique phrasing and remarkable ability to communicate heartbreak influenced generations of vocalists across jazz, soul, R&B, and pop music. Rather than relying on technical perfection, Holiday sang with honesty, making listeners feel every joy and every sorrow contained within her songs. Beyond her extraordinary musical achievements, Billie Holiday also challenged social injustice. Her haunting performance of Strange Fruit, a protest song condemning the lynching of African Americans, became one of the earliest and most courageous musical statements against racial violence in American history. Performing the song often exposed her to threats, criticism, and surveillance, yet she refused to remove it from her repertoire. Holiday's personal life, however, remained deeply complicated. Biographers have documented that she had romantic relationships with both men and women, including a relationship with actress Tallulah Bankhead, making her one of the notable black entertainers associated with bisexuality. At the same time, she struggled with addiction, abusive relationships, and repeated legal problems that damaged both her health and career. By the late 1950s, years of substance abuse and chronic illness had severely weakened Holiday's body. While hospitalized in New York, she remained under police surveillance because of narcotics charges, a circumstance many historians continue to view as both tragic and deeply controversial. Billie Holiday died on July 17, 1959, from complications related to liver disease and heart failure at the age of just 44. Her passing ended an extraordinary career far too soon, but her influence has never faded. Today, she remains one of the greatest singers in music history, remembered for extraordinary courage, emotional honesty, and a voice capable of expressing the deepest human emotions with unforgettable beauty. Willie Ninja. Willie Ninja became an international cultural icon by transforming ballroom dance into an art form admired around the world. Born William Roscoe Leake in New York City in 1961, he developed a passion for fashion movement and self-expression, despite growing up in modest circumstances. During the late 1970s and 1980s, he became one of the leading figures within New York's underground ballroom scene, a vibrant community where Black and Latino LGBTQ+ individuals found acceptance, creativity, and family during a period of widespread discrimination. As the founder of the legendary House of Ninja, he trained countless young performers while perfecting the elegant style of voguing that would eventually gain worldwide recognition. His extraordinary precision, flexibility, and confidence earned him the nickname the Grandfather of Vogue. Willie's life changed dramatically after appearing in the groundbreaking 1990 documentary Paris is Burning, which introduced ballroom culture to international audiences. Unlike many performers whose influence remained limited to local communities, Ninja crossed into mainstream fashion and entertainment. He worked with celebrated designers modeled for major brands and taught movement techniques to fashion models while collaborating with artists inspired by ballroom culture. His impact reached far beyond dance because he helped reshape public understanding of LGBTQ+ communities, proving that creativity born from marginalized spaces could influence global culture. Throughout his career, he inspired countless young LGBTQ+ people to embrace their identities with confidence rather than fear. Despite professional success, Willie Ninja faced the devastating effects of the HIV/AIDS epidemic that claimed so many talented artists during that era. He remained active as a mentor, choreographer, and performer while confronting serious health challenges. On September 2, 2006, Willie Ninja died from heart failure related to AIDS complications at the age of 45. His passing marked the loss of one of ballroom culture's greatest pioneers, yet his influence continues growing decades later. Today, voguing has become an internationally recognized dance style, while the House of Ninja remains an enduring symbol of creativity and resilience. Willie Ninja's remarkable journey demonstrates how one visionary artist can transform an overlooked subculture into a worldwide movement while inspiring generations to celebrate authenticity, courage, and artistic freedom. Lorraine Hansberry. Lorraine Hansberry changed American theater forever by giving Black families a voice that had rarely been heard on the Broadway stage. Born in Chicago in 1930, she grew up in a household deeply committed to civil rights. Her parents challenged housing segregation through a landmark legal battle that reached the United States Supreme Court, exposing Lorraine to questions of justice and equality from an early age. Those experiences profoundly shaped her writing, encouraging her to explore race, dignity, and the dreams of ordinary people with remarkable honesty. In 1959, at just 29 years old, Hansberry achieved international recognition when A Raisin in the Sun premiered on Broadway. The play became the first Broadway production written by a Black woman and remains one of the most influential works in American theatrical history. Although Lorraine married songwriter and activist Robert Nemiroff, she privately acknowledged her attraction to women and contributed essays and letters to The Ladder, an influential lesbian publication, under pseudonyms. Historians widely recognize her as one of the earliest prominent Black writers whose personal papers revealed the complex relationship between her sexuality, creativity, and activism. Rather than publicly discussing those aspects of her identity during an era of widespread discrimination, Hansberry focused her energy on literature, civil rights, feminism, and social justice. She believed writers had a responsibility to confront difficult truths using drama not merely for entertainment but as a powerful tool for encouraging empathy and change. Tragically, Lorraine's extraordinary career lasted only a few years. In 1963, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer but continued writing while undergoing treatment. Despite severe illness, she remained determined to complete new plays and support the civil rights movement whenever possible. Lorraine Hansberry died on January 12, 1965, at the age of just 34. Her loss was devastating, yet her influence has continued expanding for generations. Today, A Raisin in the Sun remains required reading in schools around the world, while her essays and letters continue inspiring discussions about race, gender, sexuality, and human dignity. Lorraine Hansberry's remarkable life proves that extraordinary courage and brilliant storytelling can leave an enduring legacy even when time is heartbreakingly short. Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was one of the most influential yet long overlooked architects of the American civil rights movement. Born in Westchester, Pennsylvania in 1912, he was raised by his grandparents who instilled in him the values of justice, education, and nonviolence. Long before Martin Luther King Jr. became a household name, Rustin had already embraced the philosophy of peaceful resistance inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. His extraordinary organizational skills, political insight, and unwavering commitment to equality made him an indispensable strategist behind many of the movement's greatest achievements. Yet despite his brilliance, Rustin often worked behind the scenes because his identity as an openly gay black man made many civil rights leaders fear that opponents would use his personal life to discredit the cause. Instead of seeking recognition, he accepted the difficult role of serving quietly while helping others lead. Rustin's greatest achievement came in 1963 when he organized the historic March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. More than 250,000 people gathered peacefully in the nation's capital, making it one of the largest demonstrations in American history. It was during this event that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his immortal "I Have a Dream" speech. Many historians now agree that without Bayard Rustin's meticulous planning and leadership, the march could never have succeeded on such an enormous scale. Throughout his career, he also fought for labor rights, economic justice, global human rights, and LGBTQ+ equality, remaining committed to non-violence throughout every stage of his life. Although Rustin spent decades in the public eye, he rarely spoke about his personal relationships, understanding the risks of living openly during a period of widespread discrimination. Nevertheless, he refused to deny who he was. In his later years, he continued advocating for equality until his death from complications of a perforated appendix on August 24, 1987, at the age of 75. Decades after his passing, Rustin finally received broader recognition for his extraordinary contributions, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, awarded posthumously in 2013. Today, Bayard Rustin is remembered as a visionary whose courage extended beyond race to include the fight for human dignity in every form. His remarkable life proves that some of history's greatest heroes worked without demanding the spotlight, leaving behind achievements that continue shaping the world. Jermaine Stewart. Jermaine Stewart possessed one of the most distinctive voices and stylish stage personalities of the 1980s, combining infectious dance music with smooth R&B vocals that captivated audiences around the world. Born in Columbus, Ohio in 1957, Stewart discovered his passion for performing at an early age before moving to Chicago and eventually Los Angeles in pursuit of an entertainment career. He began as a dancer on television programs such as Soul Train before transitioning into music where his talent quickly attracted industry attention. His breakthrough arrived in 1986. With the international hit "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off," a song that reached the top 5 in the United States and became a global anthem promoting romance built on respect rather than pressure. Stewart's fashionable image, energetic performances, and unmistakable voice established him as one of the decade's brightest pop and R&B stars. Behind his growing fame, however, Stewart lived during a period when openly discussing sexuality could permanently damage an artist's career. Although he never made a formal public declaration, many close friends, collaborators, and biographical accounts have recognized him as a gay man. Like countless LGBTQ+ performers of his generation, he carefully balanced authenticity with the realities of an industry that offered little acceptance. During the 1990s, Stewart continued recording music and touring internationally, even as commercial success became more difficult to sustain. His dedication to performing never disappeared, despite changing musical trends and declining record sales. Tragically, Stewart's health deteriorated after contracting HIV. He eventually developed liver cancer associated with AIDS-related complications, yet continued working for as long as his strength allowed. On March 17, 1997, Jermaine Stewart died at the age of just 39. His passing represented another heartbreaking loss during the devastating AIDS epidemic that claimed the lives of countless talented artists. Although his career was shorter than many fans expected, his music continues introducing new listeners to an extraordinary performer whose optimism and creativity transcended personal hardship. Today, Jermaine Stewart is remembered not only for unforgettable hits, but also as a gifted Black LGBTQ+ artist whose life reflected both the remarkable possibilities and painful realities of his era. Octavia St. Laurent. Octavia St. Laurent became one of the most influential figures in New York City's ballroom culture, inspiring generations through extraordinary confidence, elegance, and determination. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1964, she dreamed from an early age of becoming a successful fashion model, despite living in a society that offered very few opportunities for transgender women of color. Rather than allowing rejection to define her future, Octavia found acceptance within Harlem's ballroom community, where creativity, performance, and chosen family helped many LGBTQ+ people survive discrimination and homelessness. Her striking beauty, graceful presence, and unforgettable personality quickly made her one of ballroom's brightest stars. International recognition arrived in 1990 through the groundbreaking documentary Paris is Burning, which introduced ballroom culture to audiences around the world. Octavia's unforgettable interviews revealed both her dreams and the harsh realities faced by transgender women during that period. She spoke openly about wanting to become a model, live authentically, and be treated with dignity, inspiring countless viewers with her honesty and resilience. Beyond the documentary, Octavia remained active as a performer, mentor, and advocate, encouraging younger members of the ballroom community to pursue their ambitions despite social barriers. She also appeared in films, documentaries, and public events celebrating LGBTQ+ history, helping preserve the legacy of a culture that had long existed outside mainstream recognition. During her later years, Octavia faced significant health challenges while continuing to support the community that had shaped her life. On May 17, 2009, she died at the age of 45 after battling cancer. Her passing deeply affected the ballroom world, where she was remembered not only for her beauty, but also for her generosity, wisdom, and unwavering encouragement of others. Today, Octavia St. Laurent remains an enduring symbol of courage for transgender people and LGBTQ+ communities worldwide. Her remarkable life reminds us that authenticity often requires extraordinary bravery, especially for those forced to challenge society's expectations. Decades after Paris is Burning, her voice continues inspiring new generations to pursue their dreams with confidence, dignity, and hope, regardless of the obstacles standing before them. Essex Hemphill. Essex Hemphill used poetry as a powerful weapon against silence, prejudice, and injustice, becoming one of the most influential Black gay writers of the 20th century. Born in Chicago in 1957 and raised in Washington, D.C., Hemphill discovered literature as a way to express experiences that mainstream society often ignored or refused to acknowledge. During the 1980s, he emerged as a fearless voice exploring race, sexuality, masculinity, love, and the devastating impact of the HIV/AIDS epidemic on Black communities. His poems refused to soften difficult truths, challenging readers to confront discrimination while celebrating Black identity with honesty and pride. At a time when many LGBTQ+ voices remained marginalized, Hemphill insisted that Black gay men deserved visibility, respect, and representation in American literature. His acclaimed collections, including Ceremonies, Brother to Brother, and numerous essays and performances, established him as one of the defining literary figures of his generation. Hemphill also contributed to influential documentaries, anthologies, and spoken-word performances, using every available platform to encourage conversations about identity and social justice. Unlike writers who separated activism from art, Hemphill believed poetry itself could become an instrument for change. His work inspired readers to reject shame while embracing authenticity, compassion, and solidarity. Even as the AIDS crisis claimed the lives of countless friends and artists, he continued writing with extraordinary emotional intensity, refusing to let fear silence his message. Sadly, Hemphill's own health declined after he contracted HIV. Despite serious illness, he continued producing poetry and participating in public discussions for as long as possible. On November 4, 1995, Essex Hemphill died from complications related to AIDS at the age of only 38. His passing represented an enormous loss for American literature, yet his influence has continued growing over the decades. Universities, scholars, activists, and readers around the world continue studying his work because its themes remain profoundly relevant. Today, Essex Hemphill is remembered as a courageous poet who transformed personal experience into universal truth, proving that words possess the extraordinary power to challenge injustice, preserve memory, and give hope to those whose voices have too often been ignored. Keith Barrow. Keith Barrow possessed one of the smoothest and most emotionally expressive voices to emerge from the soul and disco era. Yet his remarkable talent is often overlooked today. Born in Chicago, Illinois in 1954, Barrow discovered his passion for music while singing in church, before developing a sophisticated vocal style that blended soul jazz and contemporary R&B. His breakthrough came during the late 1970s after relocating to Europe, where he found greater opportunities than many Black American artists received at home. Albums such as Physical Attraction and memorable songs including Turn Me Up and You Know You Want to Be Loved introduced audiences to his rich voice and polished stage presence. Music critics praised his effortless delivery, believing he had the potential to become one of soul music's defining performers. Although commercial success never reached the level of some of his contemporaries, Barrow earned deep respect among musicians for his vocal ability and refined artistry. Historians and those close to him have acknowledged that Keith Barrow was a gay man, although he rarely discussed his private life publicly. Like many Black LGBTQ+ performers during the late 20th century, he worked within an industry where revealing one's sexuality could threaten both commercial success and personal safety. Instead of seeking headlines, Barrow concentrated on his music, allowing his performances to express the emotion he often kept private. Tragically, during the early years of the AIDS epidemic, his health declined rapidly after contracting HIV. At a time when medical treatments remained extremely limited and public understanding of the disease was clouded by fear and stigma, many artists faced their illnesses quietly while continuing to create whenever possible. Keith Barrow died on October 24, 1983, at only 28 years old, becoming one of the earliest recording artists lost to AIDS-related complications. His career ended before reaching its full potential, but his recordings continue introducing new listeners to an extraordinary voice whose promise was cut tragically short. Today, Keith Barrow is remembered not only as a gifted singer, but also as one of the many talented Black LGBTQ+ musicians whose lives were devastated during the earliest years of the AIDS crisis. His legacy reminds us how much the music world lost through a generation of artists taken far too soon. Melvin Dixon. Melvin Dixon dedicated his life to ensuring that Black voices, LGBTQ+ experiences, and African American literature would never be ignored. Born in Stamford, Connecticut in 1950, Dixon excelled academically from an early age before earning degrees from Wesleyan University and Harvard University. His remarkable intellect led him to become a respected professor of literature, while also establishing himself as a gifted novelist, poet, translator, and literary critic. Throughout his career, Dixon explored themes of race, sexuality, family memory, and identity with extraordinary honesty. His acclaimed works, including Trouble the Water, Vanishing Rooms, and Love's Instruments, challenged readers to confront prejudice while celebrating the complexity of Black life. At a time when Black gay authors received limited recognition from mainstream publishers, Dixon refused to compromise his artistic vision or silence his experiences. Beyond his own writing, Dixon made lasting contributions by translating important Francophone African literature into English, helping introduce international Black voices to American readers. As a professor at Queens College of the City University of New York, he inspired generations of students through his scholarship, compassion, and commitment to intellectual excellence. Colleagues admired his ability to combine rigorous academic research with deeply personal creative expression, making him one of the leading literary voices of his generation. Rather than separating activism from education, Dixon believed literature possessed the power to transform society by encouraging empathy and honest dialogue across cultural boundaries. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, Dixon's health deteriorated after contracting HIV. Even while battling AIDS-related illness, he continued writing, teaching, and mentoring students whenever his strength allowed. On October 26, 1992, Melvin Dixon died at the age of 42, leaving behind a body of work that has become increasingly influential over time. Today, scholars recognize him as one of the most important Black gay writers of the 20th century, whose novels and poetry continue shaping conversations about identity, justice, and belonging. His remarkable legacy demonstrates that literature can preserve voices long after they are gone, ensuring future generations continue learning from courage, creativity, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. Marlon Riggs. Marlon Riggs revolutionized documentary filmmaking by giving voice to stories that mainstream media had long ignored. Born in Fort Worth, Texas, in 1957 and raised in several military communities, Riggs developed an early passion for storytelling and social justice. After studying history at Harvard University and later earning a master's degree in journalism from the University of California, Berkeley, he combined academic insight with artistic innovation to create films that challenged audiences to confront difficult conversations about race, sexuality, identity, and representation. Rather than producing conventional documentaries, Riggs blended interviews, poetry, personal reflection, archival footage, and experimental techniques into emotionally powerful works that redefined nonfiction filmmaking. His groundbreaking 1989 documentary Tongues Untied became one of the most influential films ever created about the lives of Black gay men. At a time when few public discussions acknowledged their experiences, Riggs boldly explored love, discrimination, loneliness, and resilience through deeply personal storytelling. The documentary received widespread critical acclaim while also generating political controversy, with some public officials attacking its funding because of its honest portrayal of LGBTQ+ life. Instead of retreating from criticism, Riggs continued creating important works, including Color Adjustment, which examined racial stereotypes on American television, and Black Ain't, an unfinished documentary exploring the diversity of Black identity. Throughout his career, he insisted that authentic representation mattered because invisibility often allowed prejudice to flourish. While producing many of his most celebrated films, Riggs was also living with HIV. Rather than hiding his illness, he openly discussed AIDS and incorporated his own experiences into his work, transforming personal struggle into artistic testimony. Even as his health declined, he continued directing, writing, and speaking publicly until he no longer had the physical strength to work. Marlon Riggs died on April 5, 1994, at the age of only 37 from complications related to AIDS. Though his life was tragically brief, his influence remains profound. Today, filmmakers, scholars, and activists continue celebrating his extraordinary courage and creative vision. Marlon Riggs proved that documentary film could do far more than record history. It could challenge injustice, inspire compassion, and give lasting visibility to communities that had too often been pushed into silence. As we come to the end of this unforgettable journey, one heartbreaking truth remains: these remarkable Black LGBTQ+ pioneers may have left this world too soon, but their courage, talent, and influence will never fade. Through music, literature, dance, activism, and art, they challenged prejudice, inspired millions, and helped shape history despite facing unimaginable obstacles. Their stories deserve to be remembered not for the tragedies that ended their lives, but for the extraordinary legacies they left behind. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which legend story touched you the most, and whose impact do you believe deserves greater recognition today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Golden Black Legends, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful story celebrating Black history and unforgettable lives.